Vechain's price action has seen a fair amount of volatility over the last few days, and it doesn't really show any sign of wanting to slow on down. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you where I think the price action is heading next in the medium and of course the long-term views. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe, and let's jump right down into the charts and take a look at what's going on with Vechain. We're going to kick things off right here on the daily time frame. Okay, so we've seen a big move to the downside on Vechain's price action. This was pretty much from that high that we saw on the 15th of July down to our existing low on the 5th of August. This was a 44.18% drop in Vechain's price action. Since we had that low on the 5th of August, we have had a bit of a run to the upside, most recently topping out on the 11th of August, and that entire run from the 5th of August up to that peak was 28.94%. It was a pretty significant run, but since then we have seen unfortunately some more slippage to the downside. That particular drop was an 8.9%. We saw in the last couple of days a bit of a run to the upside, but only to be met with downward price pressure over the last 24 to 48 hours. Most recently we've seen a 4.69% move. Now all of this volatility shows that there's a lot of liquidity being extracted from the market. If we take this down into the 1 hour time frame, you can really see how we've been kind of pushed up and pulled all the way down. This shows a lot of resistance around that 200 hourly EMA, the 50 EMA, and of course the 50 SMA, the white, blue and yellow lines. Now, most recently, within the last kind of couple of days, we've seen a lot of this kind of pushing up and pulling down, essentially a lot of liquidity being extracted, lots of positions being liquidated from leverage, and of course, lots of kind of people who have been buying spot, paying premium prices and having liquidity extracted from the market. Now, a lot of these big moves in the market, specifically with what we see just here, for example, on the 12th of August on the 1300 and 1400 hour UTC candles, you can see a push down and a pull up. This was pretty much consistent across the rest of the crypto market as well. Big liquidity being extracted in Bitcoin in both of these areas. And as you can see, the rest of the market kind of followed suit. Now, with this, we still continue to push up higher, but we have seen, unfortunately, these bigger candles coming on in here, dragging the price action back down a fair chunk. Our stochastic RSIs are heavily overbought on the 1 hour and daily timeframes, not on the 4 hour though, so there is still a little bit of hope, some volatility and a bit of a push to the upside. But one of the things that's quite consistent and quite clear is that the 200 EMA is being our kind of trend filter and is showing us that Vechain's price action is unfortunately bearish for a bit longer. Until we kind of get a closed position above that 200 EMA, I think we should expect more volatility and more downward price pressure. Okay, now as we can see here on the 1 hour time frame, we were setting ourselves up with some higher lows and of course some higher highs. These of course have broken down and it was an ascending wedge pattern. That is a bearish pattern. Okay, this was broken and we can see that our expectation should be a move to the downside. So on our kind of smaller time frames, it doesn't show us with this being complete. My expectations would be a minimum of coming down to that previous low at 2.222. Okay, but the expectation would be about somewhere between 2.111 and 2.158. That would be your typical kind of area for a retracement out of this ascending wedge. Okay, we'll be looking at this as a bigger three-wave pattern like so. Okay, so for the most part on our small time frames, we are looking for this move to the downside. It doesn't look like we're finished with all of this just yet. Roll this up into a 4 hour time frame. It does actually give us the idea of bullish momentum available to us, but not yet. I'm looking for us to kind of finish off this little structure before we get into a relief rally of some kind. And again, the stochastic RSIs will change quite aggressively as time progresses. It's very sensitive to price movements. On our 4 hour time frame, as we can see here, we're lower than the 200 EMA, lower than the 50 EMA and the 50 SMA as well. So lots of resistance in the charts. Let's bring this back to our daily time frame. So with the daily time frame also being in a bearish position with the EMAs and the SMAs, we know that there's a lot of volatility that's been occurring over the last last few days, and it doesn't show us any signs of wanting to slow down just yet. If we throw smart money concepts into the play here, we can see that this is also in a bearish position, right? We haven't had any change of characterizations to turn us into a bullish structure just yet. We were hoping that the low around 2.016 would hold, but it hasn't, and we can see that we have come down most recently to that 5th of August low, which was 1.890. Okay, and I do think that is a weak low that is likely to get broken, and we are likely to continue this move to the downside. But I want to address that this big yellow box area that I drew on the chart a very long time ago is acting as the area of accumulation. This is between 1.560 and 0.02698. This area, okay, in the price action, 1.560 to 0.2698 is what I would call a big accumulative area. This is an area where I think price action is likely to find a reversal. Now, of course, this doesn't give you a perfect entry because it is quite broad, but it gives you a huge area for dollar cost averaging. And we've been in here a fair amount of time. So some huge opportunities to build out bigger positions ahead of what I think is likely to happen next on a bigger macro scale, which if I zoom out, guys, you can see is this big run to the upside where we are targeting out some pretty aggressive levels. At 20 cent, we are going to hit an impulsive trigger point, and we have got a 1-to-1 somewhere between that kind of area of 8.2 and 1.1. Okay, so this is the area where we kind of want to see a breakthrough, and we want to kind of target out 20 cent so that we can get that big impulsive break to the upside. We've had the 5 waves already for the wave 1. This area that I've marked in yellow between 1.560 and 2.698 is a typical wave 2 retracement. So again, this is where we're likely to see a reversal to the upside, in my opinion. So there's a lot to play for here when it comes to Vechain. Some very significant gains in the future as I think we get through the next few months into 2025. 2025, in my opinion, is going to be a fantastic year for Vechain, and I don't think it's going to be all that far off. I do think that we're going to see some fantastic gains in the entire crypto market, and Vechain is just going to be one of them that balloons up with the rest of the crypto market. It's got some great potential. It's got great utility for the actual tokens and coins, and its blockchain is used for various different things all around the world. It's got some real good utility that is potentially going to get a lot of attraction, a lot of attention, and is going to help drive its price in the future. But these are just my thoughts and opinions. What are yours? Let me know in the comments down below. Where do you sit on Vechain's price action? Are you looking at the current range that is, between 1.560 and 2.698 as a great area for accumulation, or do you think we are likely to go down even deeper and we're going to basically find ourselves with sub 1 cent Vechain once again? Let me know in the comments down below, or join us in our free Discord and we'll continue the conversations down there. If you haven't done so yet, check out my second channel just here where we talk a lot more about technical analysis and Cardano and things like that. If you haven't done so, check it out, and I will catch you all in the next one.